I'm going to post the study here that shows the difference in results between the microneedling and minoxidil group and the minoxidil only group. What's up guys, Derek, moreplatesmoredates.com. Today I'm going to be talking quickly about microneedling. So if you don't know what microneedling is it's basically where you intentionally stab holes into your head to induce growth factors that would otherwise not be present or in optimal balance in somebody that has androgenic alopecia. So the benefit of microneedling, first of all, it's non-hormonal, it's not a drug. It's nothing that has a side effect profile aside from potentially, getting an infection or something if you didn't use, sterile needles or anything like that. But other than that, it's probably like one of the safest and best things you can do. Perhaps not the most, efficacious treatment, but it's good to have in there for sure because the side effect profile is so minimal. Like there's almost no reason to not include it other than if you are a pussy and don't like the pain. So if you look at the clinical data, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but more or less 1.5 millimeters per week is what I use, and I feel is a good, starting point for trying to maintain that optimal balance of growth factors in the scalp tissue where you have, miniaturization occurring. And the clinical data also shows a significantly better response of minoxidil in conjunction with microneedling. So if you use minoxidil already, I'm going to post the study here that shows the difference in results between the microneedling and minoxidil group and the minoxidil only group. And the results are pretty staggering. Now, is that because the microneedling group is just getting more minoxidil systemic and, the same thing could be accomplished with a higher dose of topical or perhaps even oral minoxidil? Maybe, but at the same time, it seems to not have a significantly higher risk profile because the way in which it is administered is it's not like they punch the holes in the scalp and then apply the minoxidil right after, and that's the mechanism by which it works better. It's these micro holes or punch in the scalp, and then minoxidil application is typically skipped on that day to prevent it from going too systemic and causing, heart palpitations and stuff, which sounds insane, but if you actually look up what minoxidil was designed for and the effect it can have on orthostatic hypotension and tachycardia, it's pretty predictable what taking a high dose systemically of minoxidil is going to do to somebody. So that's what causes, like the crazy heart rate and stuff in some individuals. And I've actually had a friend who had his blood pressure go so low, he ended up in the hospital for minoxidil. So it's definitely not something to take lightly. And it's kind of interesting to me that it's the safe thing of all the treatments, because I feel like the risk profile is just as high with it, if not higher than many of the non-traditional FDA approved treatments. But anyways, it definitely does what it does well, and it's the potassium channel opening mechanism and the increased circulation. It's probably the best growth agonist we have out there, and it's FDA approved, so obviously it's easily accessible and it's cheap. In addition to that, using it in conjunction with the microneedling is pretty non-invasive in my opinion. Like it's only a 1.5 millimeter hole. It's painful, but it's not like anything crazy that you can't just like grit your teeth through. Like I know some people who have to put on like numbing cream before they do it, and honestly, just like you shouldn't need to use that in my opinion. Just like grit your teeth and get through it. Perhaps if you're using like doing it manually, like one jab at a time, then it's like it's gonna take forever. I use this thing, it's called a Derma pen, or it's not, the Derma pen is the one that you would manually use. I use something called a Derminator, which is like a high quality, almost like clinical grade machine that you can turn on to go super fast, and it basically just goes in and out like super fast a bunch of times. So I can go through my entire scalp, all androgen affected areas that have miniaturization, and get through it within less than 5 minutes, as opposed to if I was doing it manually with a derma roller or a derma pen and like stabbing one at a time, it would take me forever. And aside from just quickly touching on derma rollers versus derma pens, never use a derma roller. Like the way they punch in and out of the skin, it can cause tearing in the scalp, which it could be counterproductive for hair growth, in my opinion. Perhaps. It's not like there's been a huge study comparing the two, but based on just physics and looking at how it goes in and out, if you're rolling something across your scalp, it's going in at an angle and coming out at an angle versus something that goes straight in and out and creates a straight, non-torn channel essentially into the scalp itself. So the derma pen is what I opted for, and it's not like there's a significant price difference between derma rollers and derma pens, so it kind of makes no sense to even risk it with the derma roller, in my opinion. The automatic machine ones are obviously more cost prohibitive, but the one I got I feel like is, good bang for the buck considering what it does. And this is something you would typically, if you went for like a vampire facial or something like that at wherever you would get that done, that kind of procedure, you would have to pay probably more than it costs for one session for this entire machine that you can use for decades on yourself. So it's been worth it for me for sure, and I would recommend you get one as well if you don't already have one. And, it's one of the staples in a hair loss prevention routine, in my opinion, regardless if you use minoxidil or not. But especially if you use minoxidil, it significantly potentiates how well it works. Like, the difference is staggering between minoxidil only versus microneedling plus minoxidil. So if you haven't looked into microneedling, highly recommend it, or you can check out the article on my website for more info. moreplatesmoredates.com. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, check out my blog, like I just mentioned. Check me out on Instagram. Follow me there at moreplates_moredates, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, etc. Talk to you guys soon.